Hello, my name is Nina. Welcome to my channel. It has been a while since I did a good old classic reading vlog, and I think it's about time I do one again. I want to chat with you about the books that I'm reading. I want to show you the things that I'm doing. I have been vlogging all of December, but it wasn't very reading related, and I think I just want to do a classic reading vlog. If you've been following my channel, you know that I've been struggling through the tandem read of the Throne of Glass series for the past few months, and I actually finished it a few days ago. I finished both of the books, Tower of Dawn and Empire of Storms. They were both like 800 pages, I think, so it took me a long time and I didn't enjoy most of it, but I did actually really enjoy the ending. I gave both of them 4 stars, and I will be reading the final part of the Throne of Glass series in a few weeks or months, but not right now. I want to take a little break and read some other books. And the first book I decided on is Nothing Special by Nicole Flattery. This one had been on my digital TBR for I think about a year. I think it's been longer than a year actually. I think I asked for this on my birthday 2 years ago, and then I also asked for it last year and I got it from one of my friends last year, and it's almost my birthday again, so it has been on my physical TBR for a while as well. And the reason I was so interested in this book is because this main character is supposed to be hired as a typist for Andy Warhol. If you don't know, I'm a big art fan. I went to art school, I do teach art as well, so that just really interested me, and I thought this would be a really fun, quick read to kind of get back into the habit of reading after being stuck in this series for so long. This book is only 230 pages, so I figured this would be a quick read. However, I am 30 pages in right now and I am so confused. The first chapter was like almost completely flashbacks, and then the second chapter you're going back in time and she's like a young child and she's meeting this man, but that man is not Andy Warhol. At least I don't think. His name is Daniel. So I don't know if he changed his name, but I'm assuming this is not Andy Warhol. But I don't really understand why I'm reading the things that I'm reading. I'm not really getting to know the main character, and it also doesn't really feel like backstory. So I know I'm only 30 pages in, so I'm assuming that that will get better, but I am not really enjoying this so far, and I don't really feel like reading a book I'm not enjoying, so I'm going to force myself to read until at least page 50, and if I'm not feeling it by then I'll just put it back on my TBR. I will read it at a different time, because I do want to read it at some point, but since I'm coming out of this really long series, I don't want to feel like I'm stuck in another book. You know what I mean? I want to fly through this book, and if that is not happening right now, then I don't think I will appreciate it enough, but I'm gonna give it at least 20 more pages. Some other exciting things that are happening is, firstly, I have been on a bread making journey. I talked a little bit about that in my last video, or the video before that, the weekend of hobbies. I started a sourdough starter, but she's not ready yet. She's still growing and being fed, but I did want to already make bread, so I have been making just a regular yeast bread. I spent all evening on it and it's in the oven right now, so I'm really hoping that it turns out well. It did have a good rise, so I think that means that it's doing well. But I also have no knowledge of bread, so I don't know what's happening. Tomorrow is Sunday, and me and my boyfriend have plans to go to IKEA, partially because we need some more storage, but also because I want to look at a reading chair. We have a beautiful green velvet chair that I use to film sometimes, but that we have 2 spots in our house that kind of need a chair, in my opinion. We have a spot in the living room where the Christmas tree was, and now that the Christmas tree is gone, I want to put a chair there. And actually the green velvet chair used to be there, but I put it in our office space because that is kind of my filming area. So I want to look for a chair that I can put in the office space that will make a cute filming background. And also, this is a little bit of a random thought, but if you live with someone that is your partner and you don't have separate bedrooms, I think it's so important to create different spaces in the house where you can sit and relax. Because if you just have your couch, then if you want to do something else other than your partner, then you have to be in the same space. Like, for example, if I want to read and my boyfriend is watching a movie, then I can't be in the same space because I will get distracted by his movie and I cannot focus on my book. So having a chair in our office space or in a bedroom, if you have that, allows me to still read even if my partner is doing something else. And I think that's really important if you're living together, to have like the option of having a separate space. If we had a bigger house, I would love to have like 2 offices or like 2 rooms, so we each have our own room separate from our bedroom. But we currently live in a 2-bedroom apartment, so we have like our bedroom and we have our office space, but creating a little bit of a relaxing space in that office space will do for now. Anyway, those are the 3 main things that are happening. I will show you my bread once it's done. I will give you an update on the book if I get any further, and I will obviously take you along with me to IKEA tomorrow. I'm really excited to do this classic reading vlog and talk about books again. I have missed this. I think it's looking really good with all of the bread knowledge that I have. Now it's going back into the oven at a lower temperature and without the lid, so it will create a nice crust. But it's looking really poofy and really fluffy. So I think that means that it's not underproofed. Let's see. Alright, I took my bread out of the oven and I let it cool for a little bit, and I'm going to cut into it right now and see how it turned out. This is what it looks like. The top didn't really brown as much as I thought, and I left it in the oven a lot longer than the recipe said in like the final stages to make it brown a little bit more. Let's see. I'm so nervous. This is what it looks like. I think the bubbles could have been bigger, but it's not like, it does have bubbles. It does feel a little bit dense. I think I should let it rise more than I did. I've sliced up a little bit, so let's try it. I actually think it tastes really good. The crust is delicious. It is a little bit dense, but not so dense that it doesn't bother me taste-wise. Next time, I think I would do the second rise a little bit longer because I was doubting if it was ready. But for my first bread, I think this turned out really well. One thing about me is that I just want to eat good bread with good butter. And that is like everything I need. I'm really happy with this.
Why does it sound like I feel like a stranger? It's like I'm surprised by the good things in life. Funny how you clear out all the noise in my head. Starting to think you might know me better than all of my...
This was by far the worst IKEA trip I've ever had in terms of finding what we needed. We had a list of like 4 things we wanted to buy and we only found 1, but at least we found the 1. So we're going home now. Good morning. Today is Monday morning, the start of a new work week. Like I said yesterday, I had a very unsuccessful IKEA trip. We did not find the chair that we wanted, and we also didn't find the kitchen storage we were looking for. So the only thing we did find was some like shelving for our storage space, I guess. And also I got a new pillow and I had such a good night rest this night. Like I slept so well. In terms of reading, I did pass the 50 pages in Nothing Special, and I'm not into it yet, but I'm less confused. I feel like I understand where the story is going, so I'm going to give it a little bit longer because I think the beginning was just build up, and I don't know if we needed that build up, but I do feel like finally we're getting to a point where I understand why I'm reading what I'm reading. I am about to go to Leora's place to help her with her web shop today. Every once in a while, I go over to help with packing orders or making products that are like more tedious. For example, I think today we are going to like put stickers on glasses, like those special glass stickers. So it's not work where I really have to use my brain a lot. It's mostly just like repetitive work, which I love. And also, I get to listen to my audiobook while I do it. I'm actually not really listening to an audiobook right now. So last night, I spent a little bit of time scrolling through my audiobook app to see what books I might want to start. These are a few books that sounded interesting to me, and I don't know which one I'm going to start yet, but it will be one of those four. I usually like to switch audio and physical, so if I'm already reading a physical book, I like reading that book on audio as well, but I couldn't find nothing special on my audiobook app, and I do really want to have an audiobook for today, so I'm gonna start a second book. I think those are all of my reading updates for now. I am going over and I am taking my book in the public transport, so I will hopefully be able to read a little bit of nothing special there, and then I will start and choose an audiobook.
Why does it sound like I feel like a stranger? It's like I'm surprised by the good things in life. Funny how you clear out all the noise in my head. Starting to think you might know me better than all of my friends. We still smile when we fight, and when I cry there's no whys, you just simply can't. All I want is to
Where did you find it?
At the thrift
cause
store.
your heartbeat is serenity. We'll stay for a lifetime. Fall in love for the last time.
Good morning. It is Tuesday today. It's already a little bit later in the morning. I have already done a couple of hours of work and I'm about to go to a coffee shop to do some more work. Yesterday, me and my boyfriend went to see the film Baby Girl. I had really high expectations of that film because I heard very good things about it, but I did not like it at all. I don't know. I just did not understand why the main character did the things she did. And objectively, the things she does are wrong. And I guess that was the point. Like, I don't think you're supposed to be rooting for her. But even if the main character is like a villain, I want to understand why they do the things they do and what makes them this villain. And I just didn't understand that in this film. But anyway, we did have a great time going to the movies. We had some pizza beforehand. It was very fun. And now I am going to continue my work. I have some reading updates, but I don't have the time to talk about it now. So I will talk about that later. First, let's go get some coffee. Hello, it is the evening time now. My day was a lot busier than I thought it was. And then in the evening, I actually filmed my full Stardew Valley Let's Play. I think that is already up when you see this, but I filmed for like 2 hours. So now it is almost 10:30. I am really tired and I'm ready to go to bed. Like mentally. Physically, I'm not ready yet. I'm gonna take a nice long shower. I'm gonna get into my comfy clothes. And then tomorrow I will actually give you a reading update because I just did not have the time today. But I still enjoyed having you with me throughout the day. So I will talk to you tomorrow. I'm going to sleep first. Good morning. It is Wednesday today, and I finally want to give you an update on this book. I'm wearing the same sweater that I wore yesterday because I just wore it like in the evening for the filming. So I figured I could still wear it again because this sweater is so warm and comfortable and it's so incredibly cold out right now. Anyway, I am halfway through this book right now, and I'm having trouble trying to describe what I don't like about it. I was talking about this to my friend yesterday and they had also read it, and I told them like, I feel like this book describes how it feels when you're drunk at a party that is a little bit too crowded and you're like in the corner and you're observing everything, but you're not really part of anything, and you kind of see everything blurred together because you're drunk. So you're just like, you hear like 2 sentences of a conversation but you don't really know what's going on, and then you look the other way and someone is doing something but you don't really understand why. That is how this book feels. It feels like I'm treading through honey, trying to make out what is actually going on. And I think that's mainly because the main character has this neutral tone about everything. We don't get any feelings, we just get descriptions of things. So the main character, for example, had a girl in school that she did not like. But instead of like explaining the feelings about this girl, she just keeps saying, I don't like her. And like I understand, but I don't feel it because it's just a description. It's not a feeling. I just don't really understand the main character. I don't feel like I know her. I just feel like I'm in the corner observing what's going on. But I also feel like I only get like half descriptions. Because, for example, like I said, this story is about a girl who starts working as a typist for Andy Warhol. It took a while for her to get there, but eventually she does start working there. And at first, there's like two girls that are described, and she talks to those girls, and then she starts working there. And then a few pages later, she describes that there's like a multitude, like a bunch of different girls spread across the room, like on couches and on desks, and they're kind of just like lounging around and chatting, and that is their work. And I don't understand, like, there's also not a description of how this room looks or how these girls look, or it's just like the conversation she has with one of those girls is described, and then she's just like, all of the other girls were just sitting there, or so I just don't really understand what is going on. Like, she is just typing away at her desk, but I don't really know why she's doing that. I don't know what she's typing. I don't know like the point of what she's typing. I don't know. I'm halfway through and I only have 100 pages to go because it's a very short book, and I am really intrigued. Like, I want to know more, but I don't know if this book is gonna give it to me. But I do want to finish reading it just because I would love to know what is going on and like how this works and why this is happening. But I'm afraid that that's just the writing style of this book and it's not going to give it to me. But we will see. I am going to continue this book. All right, that's enough for now. I will keep you updated once I read more. Today is Wednesday, which means I am working my freelance job today. And on Wednesdays, me, Leora, and Leonie meet up to do that together. I have accidentally seen Leora 3 times already this week, and I'm seeing her again today. So I'm excited about that. I am about to head out to go there. I have quite a long to-do list of work today, so I need to get on it. So let's go. Hello, I am working from home today. I've not been doing a lot of reading, but I have been doing a lot of writing. And I wanted to give you a little bit of an update because I told you in a few videos ago that I started a Substack. If you don't know, Substack is basically a newsletter and I'm using it to share some of my writing. I have been writing for years and I love to write, but I feel like there's not really a place for it in our current social media world. Like, everything is very picture and video based, which is really nice, but I also want to find a space for my writing, and I think Substack is that. So I've been spending a couple of hours writing what I think is going to be my first newsletter. I wrote this one a couple of weeks ago, but I just did the finishing touches and I think I'm going to send it out today or tomorrow. This one is all about overconsumption and underconsumption and what that means in terms of the internet. But I've also started one about how the internet keeps telling you that everything you do is wrong and that like every single thing that you do should be done a different way. And also one about how actually life is really beautiful, and if you notice the beautiful things, then there's always beautiful things to be found, even in like the worst situations. Obviously, there's a lot more nuance and a lot more information in the actual newsletters, but I just wanted to let you know that that's what I've been working on. And if you're interested in reading any of my writing, you can click the link in the description and you can subscribe to my Substack. It's completely free for now. You can leave a tip if you want to, but mostly you can read everything I write for free. I might make it paid in a little while, so if you still want to read it for free, this is your chance. The link is in the description, so thank you so much if you do subscribe. I am going to put the finishing touches to this newsletter and then probably send it out, which is a little bit scary. It's always scary to share your writing, but I'm excited, and I'm excited for you guys to read it. Good morning. I haven't talked and vlogged in a few days. Today is Saturday. I just finished making my coffee and also feeding my sourdough starter because I hope that I might be able to bake some sourdough bread today, or at least like start the process. For the past few days I have just been working basically, and in the evenings I have watched a show with my boyfriend or gone to the gym, but not really done anything vloggable. But today is Saturday, and that means I'm going to my ceramics class. I actually decided that my schedule is gonna change a little bit. In general, my schedule is gonna change a little bit, but for ceramics, I will be starting classes on Monday evening in a few weeks instead of Saturdays for a couple of reasons. One being that me and my sister do it together. We've had the same teacher for the 4 seasons that we've done it, and we've learned so much from this teacher. But I'm always a big fan of like changing teachers when you're learning something so you can learn different things from different people. So that's what we're doing. And also just schedule wise, it works a little bit better. I love my Saturday mornings like this, but I also kind of miss having a lie-in and just like having a chill day where I have nothing planned on Saturday, because I do have to get up early every single Saturday. And after like almost 2 years of doing this every single week, I think it's nice to change it up a little bit. So anyway, I am going to take my cup of coffee to the studio. I have 4 things, I think, that should be done firing and I can take home, and I'm really excited to see them. So let's go to my ceramics class.
Why does the sunlight feel like a stranger? It's like I'm surprised by the good things in life. Funny how you clear out all the noise in my head. Starting to think you might know me better than all of my friends. We still smile when we fight, and when I cry there's no wise, you just simply can't.
I am back from my ceramics class. I am currently sitting in the sun. I'm having a hard time keeping my eyes open because the sun is really bright, but I haven't felt sun 2 weeks. I think it's been 2 weeks since the last time that the sun was shining. So I wanna soak it up. I wanna enjoy this. It's so nice. Whenever the sun is out, I'm like, oh my god. Actually, life's not that bad. If the sun stays out, I might try and go on a run outside later. I usually run in the gym, and I wanted to go today for my like extra run, but I'm also really tired, so I was like, I don't know if I will feel the motivation, but I think I will at least go outside to go for a walk and see if I can run a little bit and then maybe walk the rest, or if I'm having a great time, I can run the whole time or part of it. And also today I want to make some bread. Last week I made the normal like regular yeast bread recipe, and it was nice, but it wasn't that great. And I have been working on my sourdough starter, and she is almost active. I fed her this morning. Well, I fed her last night, and then I thought that she would be ready in the morning, but I saw that she's already past her peak and she was like looking really hungry. So I figured that I would feed her in the morning, and I've now put her just like in the oven with the oven off, but just the oven light on, which is supposed to help her rise a little bit faster. So hopefully I can start making like my actual sourdough in the afternoon. However, I do have a lot of discard, and I found a bagel discard recipe, and I thought it would be really fun to make that because it's a lot less work than the sourdough. You only have to knead it with your stand mixer and then let it rise, and then you can you boil it and then you cook it. But with the sourdough, you have to like do stretch and folds every 30 minutes. It takes a lot more active time from me because every 30 minutes I have to do something, so I have to be home. But with the bagels, I can just make the dough, leave it for a few hours, and then shape them tonight and then bake. So I think I'm gonna do that right now, and then hopefully I can eat some delicious fresh bagels tomorrow.
All right, I am going to start to make my bagels. And while I do that, I wanted to chat with you about audiobook I'm currently listening to. If you're wondering what recipe I'm using, I found one on TikTok. I can link it below. And basically, you put everything in a bowl, you put it in your stand mixer, leave it for like 10 minutes to knead, and then let it rise until it's doubled in size, which I'm assuming will take around 4-ish hours. Anyway, I have been listening to the audiobook of Divine Rivals, and I did not have high expectations for this book, but I also really enjoyed this book. I'm enjoying this book. I am not nearly finished. All right, that's the discard. It's a book about a war between gods. It's a fantasy book, and it's just the war doesn't really make sense. Like, I don't really understand why it's happening, but I don't really need to know why the war is happening to like be invested in the characters. And I think so far the characters are really interesting because the main girl is a girl that has a like complicated relationship with her family. Her mom has like alcohol issues and her brother is off to war. She works at a newspaper and she is up for the job for columnist. The other person that's also in the running for that job is Kit, and Kit is like from this rich family. His dad puts a lot of pressure on like status and being perceived in a certain way, and they are both competing for this job, so they don't like each other. But then the girl finds out that she has been sending letters to her brother, but she's been writing them, but she's not been sending them, and she's been hiding them under her closet. And it turns out that those letters magically get sent to Kit. So they correspond within these letters because eventually he responds to it, but he knows that she is the girl from the paper, but she does not know that he is the boy from the paper. And so far it's just really enjoyable. I like the characters, I like the premise. I think it's really fun so far to listen to this book. Not necessarily because the subjects are very fun, because obviously the war is pretty heavy, and there's some like grief and death and trauma that's been mentioned. So it's not necessarily a happy book to read, but so far I really like the characters and the storyline. All right, I think my yeast is like bloomed, so I'm gonna 10 grams of salt and then 40 grams of honey. I have this really fancy lavender honey that I got from a farmer a little while ago. I didn't know there's honey in bagels. All right, and then I add 500 grams of flour. Okay, so this is going in my stand mixer. I'm gonna leave it to mix for around 10 to 15 minutes until it's like a good dough. And then I'm gonna leave it with a tea towel over it and let it rise. All right, it is the end of the day-ish. It's like 9 right now. My bagels are ready to boil and then go into the oven. I think they look incredible. They're very different sizes, so that's that. But that's fine. I'm boiling water right now to first boil them all and then put them in the oven. I also went on a run. Honestly, it did not go very well, and I'm feeling a little bit demotivated with the fact that I have been running for a while and I don't really see much progress. Like, there is progress, definitely, but just not as much as I would like. And I know I just have to be patient, and it's about consistency, and I will get there. But it's just so demotivating when you're on a run and like literally after a minute you're like so tired that you need to walk. And there's nothing wrong with walking in between runs, but I went on a run outside, and I haven't done that in a long time. And I feel like on a treadmill I have set it to a certain pace, and putting it down is like a specific choice. Like,
I will tell myself like, oh, I can do 1 more minute and then I will get back to walking pace. But now, because I was outside, it was so easy to like run and then run a little bit slower and slower and slower until I was walking. And I ended up just feeling like I couldn't do as much as I wanted to do. And I just really want to get to a point where I can run for like at least 15 or 20 minutes without having to walk in between, and then being able to, you know, rest a little bit and then run a little bit more. But now I just have to keep stopping, and I'm like, oh, I just want to be able to keep going, but I'm just so tired and I can't catch my breath. And I'm learning, if I go consistently, it will get better. But if you're also learning something new, it can be very demotivating sometimes. And that's okay too. We're still gonna continue doing it. I'm still proud that I went, and it was nice to run outside, especially with this weather. It was cold, but not super cold, not like unbearably cold. So my water is boiling, so let's boil these bagels. Oh my god, look at these. Many of the holes kind of closed up, so they're more just like general buns than bagels, but they look so good. All right, it's like 10, not the time to have a bagel, but I just really want to try one before I go to sleep. So let's tear it open. Let's see if I can do that. Try it. That's so good. The insides are really fluffy, but the outside is really nice and crispy. And the sea salt almost kind of makes it taste like a pretzel. Oh, I'm so excited. All right, to talk about something else than bread for a second, I have a reading related update thing, because in December, me and my family did a Secret Santa, and my dad had me for Secret Santa. And on my list of things that I wanted was an e-reader holder. You know, the ones that you can use with the remote and you can put it on like your bed or your couch and you can read without having to hold your e-reader. And he had ordered that for me, but something went wrong with my order. And for the past few weeks, he has tried to get that order to our house, but it hasn't been successful until yesterday. So I finally got my like Secret Santa Christmas present, and I'm so excited about it because I can clip it to the edge of my bed. So now I can just sort of hover my e-reader above my bed and read while I'm in bed, which I'm so excited about. So I'm about to go to bed and read for a little bit. I also listened to so much of Divine Rivals today. I think I am over halfway now. Let's see. Yes, I've listened to 4 hours and I have 3 hours to go. So I've been listening to a lot of this book today. I really like it. I like all of the characters. I think everything that's happening is interesting enough without it being like over the top crazy things are happening, but like it keeps me entertained and it also kind of makes sense in a weird way to me. So I'm having a great time reading that book. It's not necessarily the best fantasy book. Actually, it's definitely not. There's a lot of things where I'm like, that's a little bit, not the best writing, or story-wise that might not have been the best choice. But that doesn't take away the fact that I'm really enjoying listening to it. So I feel like that's the goal for me. Like, I want to enjoy the book I'm reading. So if I enjoy the story, then it's fine. But yeah, I'm really happy that I'm enjoying it. And then for Nothing Special, I have not really read in the past couple of days since I updated you on Wednesday, so I don't have many things to say except that I'm about to read it. I will probably
have some thoughts later. But I probably won't talk to you until either tomorrow night or Monday morning, because tomorrow I am going to a theme park to celebrate a birthday. We're going with family. We have like one big Disney-like theme park here, like not nearly as big as Disney. I've never been to Disney, so I don't know, but it's like, it's relatable in the sense that it's for kids, but not just for kids. But it's not filled with like very scary rides. There are a few, but mostly it's just like very fun rides, and like there's this whole fairy tale forest with all of these things, and I'm really excited to go there. I haven't been in a while, and in the winter there's this winter edition. There's supposed to be an ice skating rink. Everything will be probably like dressed up really cutesy, so I'm excited to go there. But I don't know if I will film. I might film just like bits and pieces to show you the park, but I won't be bringing my camera. Anyway, enough talking for today. I will see you soon.
Hello, good morning. Last night and this morning, I finished reading the final pages of Nothing Special. So I'm here to give you my final review. I decided to give this book 2.5 stars. So be prepared. This is not going to be too positive. And I think my main problem with this book was that I just did not feel connected to the main character. So I did not really feel anything for her or with her. Like, I didn't dislike her. I didn't like her. I didn't really understand why she was doing the things she was doing. I think the way it was written made me feel really disconnected, and it also made me feel constantly as if I was missing something. And maybe I was, like, maybe there was a point to this book that I just didn't see, but there were so many things that happened that I felt like they weren't explained. And then I was like, am I just missing the explanation? Like, do I just not understand? Like, for example, at one point, she decides to leave her home. She was living with her mom and her mom's like boyfriend-ish, and she decides to leave there. Now, the reasons she left were a little bit vague, but I could understand them. Like, I was like, okay, but sure. However, there wasn't an explanation of where she went until like years later in the timeline. Because at some point she's like, I got an apartment with roommates. But then in between that, like in between her leaving her parents' house and her getting an apartment with roommates, I have no idea where she was sleeping. I have no idea what she was doing except like the typing for Andy Warhol. Like, that's the only thing that's described. And it's interesting, and I think it definitely got more and more interesting as time goes on, as you get to know the character she's writing about more. But I just didn't understand her or what she was doing or why she was doing it. I just understood the typing. And I think that's how you're supposed to feel, maybe, because that's a feeling she describes as well. Like, nothing in her life makes sense except the typing. So I understand that the typing and Andy Warhol was like the main subject of this book. However, the way it was written, the main character was really important because you get her whole backstory and you get like 40 pages before you even enter the workspace where it's described like how she got there, and the last 30-ish pages are also just like she'd already quit that job and she's like starting new things, she's meeting new people. So the main character is really important, but it just felt like the only thing that you really cared about was the typing. But I think in total that was only like 50 or 60% of the book. So all of the rest of the time I was just confused and a little bit like bored. So sadly this book wasn't really for me. I'm glad I read it. I'm glad I finished it because I do feel like the ending was better than the beginning. So I'm glad I didn't DNF it, but I would not necessarily recommend it. Before I end this vlog, I also quickly wanted to talk about Divine Rivals. I have not completely finished that book yet, but I only have around an hour of listening time left. So I do think I have a pretty good idea of what my opinions will be. And I really, really enjoy that book. I don't think it's the best book, but I really like the characters and I really like the attraction between the characters. I really feel like they have chemistry in a good way. I also feel like the stakes were high, but not like crazy high, but high enough, because we are talking about war, so it's definitely important that the stakes are not like too low, but it also wasn't as if you're constantly in like the war zone, because that's not really what this book is about. Especially on audio, it's really, really nice to listen to. It's just, I had a great time. All right, that is it for my book updates, and that is also it for this vlog. I really hope you enjoyed watching. If you did, please let me know in the comments. Let me know what you're reading and how you're liking it. I'm gonna start the last book in the Throne of Glass series today, and I'm excited about it, but I'm also a little bit scared because that book is almost 1,000 pages, and I got in a huge reading slump with the last two books. So let's hope that I don't get in another reading slump. But I'm excited to finish the series and see how it ends. Thank you so much for watching. If you want to, you can subscribe down below, and I will hopefully see you again next week with a new video. Bye!